I haven't been around for a while. I've got, a family to look after, a few issues going on at home, but we've just had this attack in Melbourne at Flinders Street Station, and I just want to discuss a bit of this. I mean, we're talking about an attack that happened leading up to Christmas time. We're talking about an attack that has the same MO of numerous terrorist attacks which have been carried out all around the world. Now, these numerous terrorist attacks that have been carried out all over the world have been carried out with, vehicles driving into groups of people, all surrounding the same group of people, i.e. Islam. So we've got this same group of people that are carrying out these attacks. So this has happened at Christmas time. Now, initial reports came in that this guy had knives in the car, a bag of knives. I even heard in one report. I even heard a report of a second person involved, or a second person in the vehicle. I can't collaborate that. I don't know if that's completely clear. But I will tell you this. Saeed Nouri, this Afghan refugee, who, and within hours of the attack, 19 people run down at Flinders Street Station. We had 19 people run down, and we're talking about, a 4-year-old kid, an 83-year-old man included, and a bunch of other people who were just going about their business, trying to enjoy their freaking Christmas time, got run down by this prick. The thing is, the 21st of December this happens, okay? So 21st of December, this attack happens. And, within hours, we've got CNN, we've got all these news outlets all over the world reporting that this was a lone wolf attack. This was somebody who had a mental illness. This is somebody who was on ice. Now, just have a look at the guy. First thing, have a look at the guy. He's not an ice addict. I can tell you that much. Have a look at his physical frame and his appearance. And I don't know if you have had any experience with people on drugs, but he is not an ice addict. He may, sure enough, he may be taking it intermittently, but he is not an ice addict. He's far from it. And I did look into his history. He came over from Afghanistan, and apparently is this poor downtrodden guy who was oppressed by the Taliban. Okay, no worries. But that does not that does not exonerate this man from being involved in terrorist groups. It doesn't exonerate him from being involved in a terrorist plot. Now, so this has all happened on the 21st, okay? And then we see on the 23rd, okay, so which is like last night, we see raids happening across Melbourne, carried out by the police, and we have 7 people which have been taken into custody who apparently were planning terrorist attacks on St. Paul's Cathedral. There was another area, I just can't think of it right now, but it actually was Federation Square and Flinders Street Station. So here we've got Flinders Street Station, which is being named as a terrorist target on the 23rd. So the police on the 21st have had this attack. Now, this is what I think is really going on here. Even Daniel Andrews, the Premier, he came out and he said, this was an act of pure evil. Okay, well, if it was an act of pure evil, if the guy was, had a mental illness and a drug addiction and, as reports were saying, was, hearing voices and everything, is that an act of pure evil? I mean, these reports seem to contradict themselves. And then when we have these raids last night, he says the same bloody thing. It was an act of pure evil. But I think there was an operation going on. I think the police were well aware of these attacks that were impending, and I think that this attack happened at Flinders Street Station, carried out by Saeed Nouri, and that prompted the the counter-terrorism units to then go and raid these other houses. So they stepped up the program, and there are a few other things which have been put out there which we should take note of. I mean, it was only a few weeks ago they were talking about putting in anti-terrorism loudspeakers throughout Melbourne for a terrorist, a potential terrorist attack. Obviously, they knew something was up, and then we have this terrorist attack. They put out the normal mantra: "This has nothing to do with terror. This is, mental, a guy who's mentally ill and blah 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 blah." But then we see the same people, doing raids a few nights later, taking 7 people into custody in what is a major terrorist plot. With Flinders Street Station named as one of the targets, and then we have the same group of people saying we are stepping up security for candles by candlelight and major sporting events in the area in the next few weeks. And you have to ask yourself, if this was just a guy who was mentally ill on ice and this was an isolated attack, why are we stepping up all this security? And then we have obviously these raids that were carried out, and Shane Patton, acting Chief Commissioner of Police, said, this is what he said in a statement. He said, that this guy was not on our radar at all. But then he says, but we did not think that he would do anything like this. He actually said that in a statement. He said first he was not on our radar at all, and then he said we did not suspect that he would do anything like this. So obviously he was on your frickin' radar. I mean, you just contradicted yourself in a single sentence. And and when asked what the motive is, and at this point they have already, from his same department, they've already ruled out terrorism. He says it could be drugs, it could be mental health, or mental illness, or it could be terrorism. It's very, very hard and very difficult to, sort of ascertain which one it is. And, these are the same people who've already declared it had nothing to do with terrorism at all. And, we just see these contradictory statements. We see the police lying. They're basically just putting out this. And I think maybe there was this is what I think. I think there was a major operation going on. I think that maybe they put out this statement, he's mentally ill and blah, 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 it has nothing to do with terrorism, because they didn't want to alert the other guys that they were going to raid. But at the end of the day, they knew who all these people were. And I have no doubt in my mind that this guy, Saeed Nouri, was a part of this terrorist cell or this terrorist network. He may even be linked to the same mosques as the other 7 people's, the other 7 people who were arrested. I think 2 were released, 2 males and 1 female. So that means they've, still got, 4 in custody. But I think they were probably all linked to the same mosques, and perhaps they were putting out misinformation so that when they actually raided these places, they could catch them red-handed. But I just feel insulted. I feel insulted that they think that we're this stupid. It was the same thing when the Christian lobby was bombed, and they said it has no ideological, connotations whatsoever. And then we all find out, and I got attacked viciously on my YouTube channel for saying, look, it's completely obvious it does. And then, it took so long for the investigation to happen. And then we find out, of course, it did have ideological connotations. It was some psycho frickin' gay bloody rights supporter that drove the van up there and did all that. So we're definitely being lied to. We're definitely being lied to by the police and the counter-terrorism units, or whoever are in control of this stuff. And I just feel like our intelligence is being insulted through all this. I think it's completely obvious that Sayed Nouri is a part of a terrorist group. He's obviously committed this attack, and now police are trying to rush and try and clean up the frickin' mess, which they could have averted by literally just finding these people and frickin' throwing them out of the country when they had the chance. This is Omega. I'll be back in a while with another video. I'm not sure when I'll be back. It's Christmas time. I'll enjoy some time with my family, so Merry Christmas. And I hope all you guys have an awesome Christmas and a Happy New Year. And I'll be back soon. Cheers.